You're scrolling through patient charts at the public hospital, eyes bleary from a 20-hour shift that refuses to end. Every room is full, every patient a new problem, a new burden, a new waiting death. You know the drill. You know the system. You've memorized every form, every bureaucratic obstacle, every policy meant to keep the hospital functioning, but it doesn't work. Not tonight. Not ever. And still, you keep typing, keep scribbling notes that might change nothing. A nurse shakes her head at you, muttering about another patient who's bleeding in room 7. You glance up, irritated, but before you can protest, the screaming starts. Not the usual hospital moans, not the steady whine of pain. It's fear, sharp and immediate, and it slaps the room into silence. 4 men burst through the emergency doors. Guns. You freeze for a heartbeat, the logical part of your brain screaming for lockdown procedures, for security. There is none. One man is holding a stretcher, a young man barely conscious, chest shredded by gunfire. You recognize the type of injury. They don't survive long, not in your hospital. And then the pistol is on the tray, casual, almost polite. Fix him. If he dies, you die. You realize instantly. Paperwork, ethics, reporting, everything you trained for doesn't matter here. It's immediate action or death. Your hands shake, but only slightly. You glance at the young man, at the blood spreading across the sterile sheets. One decision, 1,000 consequences. You could refuse, you could panic, but that choice is immediate death. You reach for the scalpel, the line of thinking narrowing until there is only one path, survival through skill. Hours pass like seconds. You work, you improvise, you slice, clamp, stitch, and pray for luck and speed to meet your knowledge. You feel the muscles tighten in ways you've never felt before, the adrenaline singing in your veins. When he breathes again, shallow and ragged, you allow yourself the smallest recognition of victory. No forms, no police, no accolades, just a nod from the armed men, and they vanish into the night, leaving you with the lingering scent of blood and the cold knowledge of what just happened. Days later, a man in a tailored suit is at your door, not polite, not threatening, just a fact. He names your family members, casually, as though reading a grocery list. He says the job is available, the pay life-altering, the risk life-defining. Monday, armed guards at the gate. You realize the hospital is gone, replaced with a network of impossible choices and impossible rewards. You accept. The first time you operate outside the law, the first patient isn't a stranger. It's someone desperate, hunted, and bleeding in ways that are difficult to repair. Your tools are sterilized only by your own judgment. Your room is makeshift, improvised, dangerous. Every movement matters. You are the only barrier between life and death. Every mistake is fatal. The weeks turn into months. You learn quickly that discretion is as vital as skill. One wrong conversation, one wrong glance, one delayed response, and you risk your life and everyone dependent on you. Patients arrive in the middle of the night, bleeding, broken, desperate. Some beg, some plead, some threaten. You assess, calculate, and decide, sometimes in milliseconds. Each decision carries the moral weight of the life in front of you and the ripple effects across a network you barely understand, yet cannot escape. You start to understand hierarchy in this world. There are levels. Some men provide protection, others provide information, others carry the weight of debts and retribution. You are low at first, the surgeon who can save a life that isn't supposed to survive, but competence accumulates respect. One patient survives because of you, another because of improvisation, another because you gamble on techniques that the textbooks never sanctioned. Your reputation spreads quietly, whispered in alleys, discussed over encrypted phones, and with respect comes demand. Money arrives in envelopes that smell faintly of cigar smoke and leather. You learn to count it discreetly, to invest it quietly, to avoid the temptation of flashing wealth. The stakes are not only life and death, they are moral compromise, personal risk, and constant calculation. Every decision compounds. You realize that a patient saved today might generate an enemy tomorrow. Every incision carries consequences far beyond the body in front of you. Years pass. You've become something the hospital never intended, never imagined, a master of improvisation and clandestine care. You operate in warehouses, abandoned buildings, and private rooms behind closed doors. Armed guards watch over you. Sometimes they intervene, reminding you of your mortality with a single glance or the press of a weapon.
You learn to work fast, to anticipate threats, to read the tension in a room. Every procedure is a negotiation with chance. Every suture is a gamble with fate. You make mistakes. One patient bleeds out despite every precaution. One decision miscalculates a dosage. You absorb the guilt, the whispers, the subtle threats. And yet you continue, because survival is not a matter of comfort or conscience, it is necessity. You adjust, adapt, and refine. With every passing year, the work becomes second nature, instinctive, precise. But instinct alone does not protect you from betrayal, from armed intrusions, from the law that lurks at the edge of your shadowed world. You witness the long-term consequences of your work. Families are grateful, indebted, dangerous. Some patients return, bringing new complications, debts, or allegiances. The network grows. Your name becomes both a shield and a target. You operate with constant awareness, calculating risk as naturally as breathing. One wrong movement, one missed sign, and everything collapses. You sleep lightly, always listening, always alert. At night, you sometimes imagine your old life, the hospital corridors, the policies, the predictability, but the memory is brief. Your moral compass has shifted to a different axis: survival, skill, and leverage. You negotiate with armed men over procedures, argue over resources, and balance ethics against necessity. You understand the cost of every life saved against the danger incurred. Every new procedure escalates stakes. The surgeries grow more complicated, the injuries more extreme, the patients more desperate. You must make split-second decisions: clamp or suture, wait or act, follow instinct or reason. Every choice carries exponential consequences. You cannot rely on backup. You cannot rely on forgiveness. Mistakes are absolute. Time accelerates. You keep a mental ledger of threats neutralized, patients saved, debts incurred, alliances formed. Each success builds leverage. Each failure costs it. You develop strategies for minimizing exposure, methods for improvising with limited equipment, and techniques for negotiating compliance from those who might harm you. You become part tactician, part healer, part survivor. You begin mentoring others cautiously. Your knowledge is precious, and passing it on is both a risk and a necessity. You calculate how much to reveal, how much to conceal, balancing utility against safety. Each new hand trained is a double-edged blade, an asset in competence, a liability in unpredictability. Years become a decade. You understand the ecosystem of this underworld, the patterns, the hierarchies, the implicit rules. You know that no act is without consequence. You see the web of cause and effect in every patient, every decision, every interaction. Your life is a perpetual calculation, a balancing act between ethics, survival, and the needs of those dependent on your skill. You feel the moral tension constantly. Every day you save lives that official medicine would have abandoned. Every day you operate in the shadows, circumventing laws and morals alike. You weigh survival against conscience, always aware that the very skill that grants life also grants danger. You operate, you decide, you live, and sometimes only barely. And still, there is no resolution. You do not retire, you do not step away. You are entwined in a network that demands your skill, your judgment, your courage. Every new patient, every new procedure carries the potential to end life or extend it. You exist in constant tension, balancing knowledge, instinct, and morality against the ceaseless risk that surrounds you. You have become indispensable, dangerous, necessary, and never free. You continue, knowing that each incision, each decision, each moment could be your last or someone else's. And as the night stretches and the phone rings with another emergency, you take a deep breath, pick up your scalpel, and step into the role you never sought but cannot abandon. You are the illegal surgeon, and the world waits with bated breath for the choices you will make next.